to get ducked. We are back. I am back from the grave. Thank you, COVID. Thank God the pandemic's over. Hey, the pandemic's over. Now I have COVID. So we are back. I'm alive. And we are going to talk about... Barbies. Yeah.
Good Lord.
I thought the build up, man. That was a dramatic pause. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about Barbies. We are going to discuss Tiny Shoulders, the documentary that is available on Hulu. I believe it's from 2018.
So tiny. So shoulders.
In short, if we were to sum up this documentary in one sentence, it would be that the doll mirrors society at the time.
Kind of.
Or tries to.
Well, I think that's the time is the big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Whether either it's predicting something or it's already too late. I think that's what the big problem with watching the documentary is.
Well, then maybe the better way to say it mirrors problems in society, whether or not it's trying to fix them or retroactively showing what the issues are. It does sort of reflect what is going on at the current moment in society. So when Barbie starts out, we meet Ruth
and her husband.
Yes. Basically, he establishes the company, and she basically takes it for what it turns into.
So Ruth, I forgot, what was her last name, Nat? I know you got it.
Oh, yeah.
Nat
Ruth,
with the facts.
So it's Ruth Handler, and then, well, I didn't get her husband's name, but...
Well, I would assume maybe.
Mr. Handler.
Yeah, I mean...
Ruth's husband. That's
Ruth's husband, even though he's the one who started Mattel.
He started the company Mattel.
Yeah.
However, Barbie was not his idea. Ruth wanted a doll that would kind of do the same job that the paper dolls at the time were doing. Her daughter, was playing with paper dolls, and she noticed that her daughter would play out these narratives, these stories, these dreams with the paper dolls. At that time, the only real dolls available for children that weren't made out of paper were baby dolls.
Yeah.
It was all about being a mother. And as we found out, Ruth was like, I'm not staying home.
Yeah,
I can cook and clean, but I need something more in my life. And so she wanted to give children the opportunity, especially girls, to dream big and realize that staying home is not your only option. Right. And that's what Ruth did. You know, she didn't stay at home. She was a part of her husband's company. She brought in this idea and ran with it.
Yeah, even though people in the company weren't really for it.
Let's clear that up. Even though the men in the company weren't really for it, it also seemed that she was the only woman in the company.
Yeah.
All the pictures you see when the company started out, it's all men. So while Ruth is the driving force behind Barbie, we do have to thank her husband for going, okay, yes, you can take part in this company, because he could have been like probably a lot of other husbands at the time and go, I need you to stay home and take care of the kids.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, maybe like the solidarity with them being Jewish, what was it? They're Jewish immigrants?
I believe so.
Yeah, so there's probably like, their dynamic seemed like they were very much like team focused. I mean, they've already are going through a lot together in a sense of just being immigrants. So it's kind of nice that like he kept that within just not only their personal lives, but then as a business partner as well. You know, I think it could just be more of a cultural thing as well. I mean, and she was really headstrong, and I'm pretty sure he liked that about her. Yeah. So I guess he's a little bit of a progressive too, in a sense. Even if he wasn't here for the idea.
Yeah, while he wasn't here for the idea, Ruth didn't give up.
Yeah.
And didn't she find a doll that was sort of similar to her idea in France, I believe it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And she brought it back and she was like, this is what I'm talking about, guys. this is what I want. And the big controversy was, you want a doll with boobs?
It's the fact that the doll had breasts. They're like, no, that's not a thing. That's inappropriate. I mean, it's kind of interesting where, like, especially with the time period, like, they can sexualize women, but like they're like, yeah, but we don't want little girls to want to like think about having boobs. And I'm like,
but we want little girls to think about having babies.
Yeah. Babies, okay. Boobs, no. No, boobs aren't.
It's okay to get pregnant, but don't look good in a dress because you are filled out.
Yeah, it's just. And then, I mean, Ruth made a good point. She's like, well, if they want to imagine themselves when they're adults, well, women have breasts. Like, I mean, of course that's varying, but as a general thing, that's like what we imagine. We're not going to be kids forever. So
no, you're going to grow up, you're going to have curves. And as a kid, you do look at the woman around you and you notice, I don't look the same. So that is something that you do notice, and to have that reflected in your toys.
And the other thing that was interesting too is that the OG Barbie wasn't supposed to be gorgeous like the one that's like that we know today. So they made her kind of like, how do I put it? Like mid looking, like her eyes kind of looked in different directions. Do you remember?
Well, they mentioned that, yes, don't make Barbie too pretty because we want whatever Barbie does to be more attainable to all children. But they did mention at one point that her eyes were looking down and not straight forward and not confident. And that could have been a reflection of the time where women weren't really, you know, in powers of position or really calling the shots. However, I find that kind of weird when they said that, especially with Ruth being so headstrong. I would have liked to have been in that meeting.
I think that it's because like they're already doing something new and different that like you can't push the envelope too much, you know what I mean? And like, of course that developed over time, but it was, I guess, like a starting point. And then I do like though that she did mention like by not making Barbie like this beauty queen though, she didn't want to like intimidate young girls, you know, and like feel like they.
But I never once thought that the original Barbie wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
So I still, when I heard that comment, I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
She kind of goofy looking, at least to me. She's not ugly, but like they made her like more average.
I thought she looked sultry. She looks like one of those pinups. Like,
yeah, I mean,
if you're gonna downplay some of the features, I mean, they didn't really downplay the bathing suit. It's stripes and the lines highlight the fact that she's filled out up top.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna like push for the boobs, I mean, I think the body
they could have gone with a solid color.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
but I
they
think
did
that
the
was
stripes and they
the
highlighted.
Face. Yeah, but the body was like the part that she fought for, so I get why they would highlight that. But she was talking about her face, like was supposed to be more average looking, you know. And I still think that it kind of was, especially for like the time period, because what was it, 1959? She wasn't like.
I just thought she was side-eyeing people like, I'm better than you. I'm Barbie. I never thought that it was, you know,
downplayed.
I always like, Barbie's giving you side-eye right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I kind of see where they were coming from. I think it got worse over time. Like, I think Barbie got way more beautiful over time in terms of her face. Like, tiny nose, like super feminine, like her eyes too. I mean, the OG one, like those eyes were goofy looking to me.
I don't know. Like I said, I always thought she was just side-eyeing people like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And I'm better than you. And look at my stripes.
I mean, but she was single and didn't have a man starting off too. That was kind of interesting to start Barbie off like being an independent woman. So I don't know. I thought the direction was very like 1959, like 59. That's crazy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you go, Ruth. You go with your doing it for the boobs. You know? I mean, she talked about boobs the whole time. She's here for it.
Wilson has nothing to add about Barbie.
He's like,
so quiet. He's like, I'm not going to touch this subject.
There is a couple of things that that I found interesting about like the actual beginning part of, you know, Barbie. Number one, Ruth's daughter was named Barbie. So the actual that name itself was already part of the family. So I thought that was pretty cool that she named that one thing that was going to be kind of like an experiment to see if it was going to be a highlight or not. And it turned out to be the biggest thing that Mattel ever really did from that point.
Turned
on.
out to be beyond that. It's iconic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody around the world now says the name Barbie.
Exactly. So, and that the fact that her husband was like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and, I don't agree with it, but we're going to try it out just to see how it goes. And then that ended up being the biggest thing that they did. And, there's, they had issues with the company and stuff like that. But, overall, I think that, that was one of the things that probably saved that company early on in its career, was how fast that took off, because before that was just like little paper dolls that you would cut out and then change the clothes for. So that nobody really had a substantial toy that they can actually like dress, and there was accessories and stuff like that. So
Outfits, different professions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then that's the interesting thing too is like what they said that Barbie had jobs that women at the time didn't even have yet. That was kind of interesting and cool because then you see what ended up happening. Like girls, when they grow up, they started getting those jobs too and going for it.
You are what you play with. I played with a gem doll that had a black saxophone, and I grew up to play a black saxophone. So, they're pushing that narrative of you can be more. You don't have to stay at home. You can be a doctor. You can be this. You can be that. And if you lay that foundation at a very young age, that child's not going to know anything else.
Yeah.
They don't know the world where their mom grew up and she didn't have a choice but to stay home. That child's already in their head going, I'm just going to be a doctor because I can. And I think that's what Barbie did at that early stage. It set the groundwork for future women to see the possibilities and not limit themselves. They pushed for it. Well, Barbie was a doctor. They don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't have to worry about the boundaries if nobody told you can't do it. If Barbie was able to be an astronaut or a judge or whatever, and nobody told you, hey, well, you know what, you can't do that kind of thing. If you're playing with something that, or having that seed planted that there is even a possibility of that happening, then that's all you really need. You can grow up and kind of push in that general direction and eventually get there. As long as you have like some resources and people that aren't constantly beating you over the head saying you can't do that, then there's a possibility that you can do something good. And I think that was a really good thing, was being forward thinking. And I think that they're, foreshadowing. I think some of the steam got let out on that, but I think as far as the beginning goes, that was a great way to start off a product, was giving people hope that they can do more.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because 1959 is when it started, and then that's when we start approaching like the 60s. And although Barbie could have careers, she also had to maintain staying 110, like she had to be 110 pounds.
A Barbie doll was released with a scale permanently on 110 pounds. And not only that, she had other accessories. Accessories was a diet book.
Yeah, it's how to lose weight book. And it said like, don't eat. Yeah. So it was weird. So it was like,
you can have dreams, but only if you're a stick figure. Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. Like if you want to be like Barbie the doctor, or Barbie
the doctor ain't fat, y'all.
Yeah.
She is 110. She's almost anorexic.
She's like 5'11" or something.
She is.
As far as like scaling goes. Yeah, it's I mean, even like when they released that doll in what was like the 60s, almost
60s.
60s. I mean, women were still fighting for their rights for voting and everything else. So you had Barbie already pushing way past that in those releases. So yet again, still ahead of the curve.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
ahead, but also people were protesting, saying they weren't Barbies.
Well, that
so it's such a weird dynamic.
That didn't start coming until like the 1970s. with the protesting, because that's when Mattel saw the decline. But in the 1960s, it was a little bit more universally accepted, just because like it was still that like homemaker housewife thing.
Yeah.
And then the 70s was that shift when it's like feminism. Like that's when like people were like a lot more free thinking, like drugs, sex, like all that, like, yeah, we all know the 70s was lit and I would have loved to be there. But yeah, that's when Mattel saw its decline, because that's when women are just like, Barbie's not like a representation of who I am.
But I just find it so interesting how at one point, like we discuss, oh, Barbies, different jobs. We want equality for all. But stay skinny. And then everybody's okay with it. And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, we're not Barbie. And all the reports are like mentioning how unattractive the women are in all of the protests.
Yeah.
And they keep showing pictures of Barbie, who is super full face makeup.
I mean, I think with the challenges with anything that is like ahead of the curve, like the more time that goes on, like Barbie, at first you're like, oh my gosh, she has all these jobs. Yes, she still has to maintain her weight. But that's kind of how like shifting people's minds work. It's always something small so they can digest it. And then you add more. And then, yes, people like point out more. So it is kind of, not surprising that the women in the 70s who got to see Barbie with jobs all the time, they're like, okay, well, that's not enough for me anymore. I want a Barbie that, is more independent and like all these other things that, doesn't have to look super beautiful all the time. And yeah, I mean, it just like as everything develops, and people get more open-minded, they kind of like put a damper on things that used to be ahead of the curve. When it's still something that's like wild for older generations. They're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like it's an astronaut Barbie. Why is that not enough?
Well,
like
I think some of that also has to go with when the original Barbie came out, it was made just for a certain type of demographic and a certain age range. When those people grew up into the 60s and 70s, they still have a memory of what Barbie used to be. They don't go out and shop for Barbie like in the 70s at that age range, because they've already aged out of that whole genre. So they still have that image of Barbie homemaker kind of thing. But I think they also forgot about the astronaut, the judge, the, whatever, the pushing forward on that kind of stuff. But they still have that idea of this is what Barbie represents.
That's true.
And then when, Mattel finally plays catch up, they have to wait for a whole new demographic to evolve and to actually have a voice to really say something about their new product. That's the thing with toy markets and stuff like that. You're only going to hit that certain person between certain age. And then after that, they're basically almost gone unless they're like a collector. They're not really keeping up with, the stuff that's coming in because they're already out of that age group.
That's true. Yeah, unless you're like a diehard fan of something, you don't really care about the evolution.
Yeah.
Or I guess until like they become mothers, I guess that's the only time they'd be reintroduced to it. So it makes sense that they would still have like a gripe. Yeah, if you're not seeing
no.
Yeah, seeing the changes in it. I don't know. I mean, the 70s was an interesting time. I think they should have made like hippie Barbies. Can you imagine Trippy Barbie? Grateful Dead Barbie.
I need a David Bowie Barbie, like a Starman Barbie.
That'd be so cool.
You mean there isn't one?
I'm pretty sure there is one.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And that's kind of the thing. Like in the documentary, they didn't really go into like the 60s/70s style Barbies. They only showed like one or two of them, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the only things that they released during that time period. Because also in that time period, they're on their second evolution of the Barbie body itself.
Yeah.
Because they didn't reintroduce another one until the 1980s. And that one, the waistline is like
tiny,
super small.
The 80s.
You got that flash dance waistline.
Yeah. So like when they were showing the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the waistline kept on getting smaller and smaller. It wasn't until like
she needed to stop reading that book.
Exactly.
She did. I mean, hey, got passed down generation.
Yeah, it was like finger in the throat Barbie.
Stop. That's so bad. Oh, no.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you see the evolution of the actual plastic Barbie itself, and then all the different accessories and clothes and everything else like that. And then the type of influence that would have on somebody, it's not until they try to reevaluate what it actually means. But, when they started hitting the second phase of, that type of Barbie, when they went under a new management, the new CEO.
Yep, 1980s. That's when Barbie comes back. She makes her big comeback with Jill. How do you pronounce her last name again? Barrett.
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 Barrad.
Yeah.
Barrett.
Jill.
We're gonna go with Barrett or Jill.
We'll just say Jill.
Just Jill. Jill.
Boss Jill.
Boss
Jill.
Jill. Yeah. So
yeah,
Jill.
she looked like a boss. She was.
All
the pictures or video clips they showed of her, she was taking command. She was very confident.
She
knew
Barbie.
what she wanted to do at that time for the Barbie company and what she wanted to provide to girls.
Mm-hmm. Like she had a great sense of making everything palatable. Like I don't know, she was along the wave of, so there were more women in the business workplace. That's when blazers started becoming a big thing, the shoulder pads and everything. And so she incorporated that into Barbie, but then Barbie could go from day to night. And that's what I did love.
That 9 to 5 Barbie doll.
Yeah.
They should, I don't remember that, but yeah, that made me tired.
It was genius.
Like Barbie working 9 to 5 and then going out. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh,
you took off her blazer and then it turns into like this really pretty
evening,
party dress looking
cocktail
thing.
Dress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Day to night Barbie. I mean, yeah, at the same time, like I think with women being more or slowly more accepted in the workplace and in business, even though of course we're still working on it today. But around that time, I think it was nice to see that because women were in a place where it's like they would have to sacrifice like one for the other. And I think that's what they were trying to represent with that Barbie. Like you can still have a family and work, or, like you don't have to just be a career woman, or you don't have to just be.
You don't have to pick one. I mean, they even showed a movie clip with Diane Lane.
Diane
Lane.
Yes, Diane Lane. Where, the whole clip was just that. She wants to be a businesswoman, and the guy's like, I can have it all, but you can't. You would have to take care of a family. So, that pretty much, I think, was the thought in the 80s. And Jill wanted to push past that. You can have it all. You can have a family, and you can work. It's doable.
It is. I mean, the only thing that's kind of like a little tricky with that though is that, I mean, you can see how that trickles into today where women are still expected to take care of everything though. That's the only part that's a little tricky.
They are still expected to run, quote unquote, a household.
Yeah, run the household and your job, but like, and you need to take care of
do the laundry, cook and clean, have a full-time job.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know, but that like everything has that give and take. And on top of that, what I also liked about Jill is that she was a very feminine businesswoman, and she even talked about being a very feminine businesswoman because at that time period, women thought that they kind of had to emulate like masculinity to fit in, to be in the business like realm, and Jill was just very.
That still happens nowadays. Yeah. I mean, you can go back to the Theranos girl, and she dropped her voice so that she would be taken more seriously. You have stories of politicians who, for instance, most of the female politicians, they wear the pantsuits because they're trying to gain that authoritative, energy in a room full of guys. It's something that women have been doing for a while, and it's still very present in our culture.
Oh, for sure. But that's exactly why Jill was like even more of a boss, because she's just like, I'm super feminine and I'm a boss. I'm like, she's like OG boss bitch, just like, yeah, let's roll in here with my pink pantsuits, all my makeup, because at the same time, like, that's kind of the other thing too. You don't have to be ashamed to be feminine, or like to be super feminine and to be super
Only
smart.
if you're heavier than 110.
Oh no. No. Barbie.
Yikes.
On the Barbie scale.
Yeah.
I mean, but she did do a great job, because then that's when Mattel reached their first billion.
That is, she took the company in a slightly new direction. Maybe rearranged some of the ideas, presented it in a new way, and definitely they reached a new revenue level. And on that note, we'll take a little pause and we'll come back to discuss more Barbies.
Go Barbie.
I'm ready.
Go Barbie, go Barbie, go. All right. We'll be back. And welcome back from the break.
Awesome.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about Jill and what she did with the company to bring up revenue.
Yeah, I think when Jill was in the process of kind of revamping Barbie, they also put together African-American line of Barbie dolls, and kind of pushing that. I think there was new job titles that were also associated with like all of the Barbie dolls, so it was more inclusive. It was kind of more forward thinking. And
They also offered 3 different skin tones, so it wasn't just a black doll.
Yeah.
It was 3 African-American dolls with 3 different skin tones. So they were definitely doing a big push to be more inclusive, to have a more diverse catalog. And the fashions also were supposed to be more inclusive of the fashion
At the time.
the time.
And
And the hairstyles.
And the hairstyles, yeah.
So new hairstyles, new outfits, new occupations. Wasn't some of them like modeled after, like, what was it, Soul Train?
Oh yeah. So some of them
There was a line. Was it the last line?
Yeah.
Because that set of African American Barbie dolls, Shani,
Yeah.
only lasted 3 years, from 91 through 93, and the fourth wave, I think I read, was supposed to be tied to or inspired by Soul Train.
Yeah.
But the big deal of those dolls was also the language that they used. Instead of describing them as black dolls, they described them as African American dolls, which was introduced at that time as the more PC term. So that's also why it was revolutionary.
Yeah, the marketing materials, the commercials, the packaging. Jill went out of her way to make sure that they did use the correct PC language of the time. She wanted to help that movement forward as well, and made sure that everybody knew that these were a line of African American Barbie dolls. The features were also supposed to be more
reflective
of the African American features, whereas I think prior to this they might have had a few quote unquote black dolls, but as you heard someone explain or mention in the documentary, they had white features. It was just a different color plastic. They hadn't up until this point gone out of their way to have the Barbie doll reflect that group of people, that group, that culture, those features, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
It was definitely a step in the right direction. Like I said, Jill was just was it. Well, she came across like she was like one of the best things that happened to them, because, you know, they were in such a decline from the 70s just to, you know, bring it back in the 80s. But then, you know, after Jill, I mean, they didn't say how long she was there, but it was towards the 90s when the decline started to happen again.
Yeah, I think the with the era of Jill, I would call it.
Yeah.
The other earlier Barbies were basically just like a palette swap. So they didn't really put any kind of real emphasis on it. And I also think that kind of showed a little bit. Yeah, people were happy that there was a African-American Barbie, but it needed to go farther. So when they changed some of the features, had a different molding for, the different types of Barbies, then that was better. It was more inclusive. And that was actually the first time that they hit their billion mark, was when they started introducing more Barbies to more people. Shocker. You cast a wide net, you get more fish. It's amazing. It works every time, but then they act surprised when it does. But when I guess they hit the next era, like in the 90s, like you were saying, they kind of hit a slump again. And I think this is kind of like around this kind of time period. I think that's when Mattel was no longer ahead of the curve. They kept on kind of sputtering, kind of slowing down, not really asking the right questions at the right time. And I think they hit multiple speed bumps because they just weren't really pushing the envelope anymore. They were just kind of like, okay, we did it. We made some money. Let's kind of do a couple of things here and there, make some minute changes, and then that'll push us to the next whatever. Yeah. And it definitely showed with how they represented the newer dolls at that time. Was basically they're late to the game. They're kind of just wondering why the numbers aren't the way that they should be. And it's like, well, if you don't push innovation, you're not going to be in front of the line.
Do you think that part of that is maybe the fear of losing that $1 billion mark? Like they didn't want to, they're like, we've pushed so far now. Let's just kind of ride this out and not break anything.
Well, I think if you go in with that kind of mindset, then your billion is going to be the ceiling. You can't go farther than that if you're only looking just for making those same sales in that same demographic. So you would have to keep on expanding to push farther, or you would have to make certain products more available to sell more of the product. So there's only certain ways because your demographic for Barbie in general is usually only catered towards, young girls and collectors. So you have to figure out how you can expand in that demographic that's going to be a guaranteed payday. So there's only so much you can really do, to really get that. And I think that's also when they started putting out their, I guess it would be considered like a heritage line. That's kind of like, if you're going to spend $100 and something for a Barbie, it's going to be like, the ones that the collectors are going to go for. That's not modeled after a 13-year-old girl, and I think that's kind of how they were kind of straining to get more people to get more Barbies.
Also, they did express that the 90s was a little bit more of a tougher time just because there was a kind of a decline in feminism. That's how they defined it as. So, it's not that like women weren't feminists, but the definition of what a feminist was kind of like muddy, and young girls at the time, like teenagers to like early 20s, like even somebody in the documentary who was working at Mattel, I think it was the woman with the short hair, she was saying like, I didn't know what exactly being a feminist was. And yeah, it's like you're supposed to go with the wave of the generation, and the generation is also confused. It's like, what direction do I go in this company? Because they're doing all these revolutionary things, but now it's like we're trying to figure out what feminism is and what is more important to us. So I did think that was kind of interesting for that, but they also didn't go too much into the 90s to the early 2000s. So
well, I think with the 90s, I guess the turning point, I guess as far as like, I guess what Barbie is supposed to be considered, like almost a social commentary on current events and stuff like that. They felt like they were on their front foot, like in the 50s and 60s, and then they kind of took a step back. They did the same thing in the 80s, but in the 90s they were on their back foot again. And for me, it just doesn't seem like they were asking the right questions to the right people, and I think that's why they keep on hitting their slump. They hit a groove, they ride the groove, and then all of a sudden the numbers start coming back down again. and then they're scrambling for ideas.
And they seem to hit that groove every time they bring in new blood.
Exactly.
New people, new management, maybe fresh eyes, younger people. After a while, you get older. At some point, you get stuck in your views. You become old like me.
I think that's why, like, when you're getting out of that demographic, that key demographic, they need to bring in people or do test groups.
The focus test.
The focus test groups where they can reestablish what people are really looking for now. And for me, for like a company that's been around since the 50s, this should have already been established. This should already have been things that this company does.
I mean, I think they might have like lucked out if you look back, because it's not that I don't think that they're not bringing in new people. Mm-hmm. It's just that Ruth happened to have all of these cool forward-thinking ideas. Jill
and she also had her own test group.
Yeah.
Her daughter.
Oh, her daughter. That's true.
Yeah.
She had a focus group. She had her at home, her and her friends.
And then Jill, another person who was just like different than like every other person, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like very headstrong, had all of these great ideas. And then when those people, start to phase out, then it's like, where are we going to find another unicorn? You know? Exactly. So, yeah. I mean, but the one thing that did happen in the 90s was Aqua came out with the song, which I thought that they'd honestly touch on that, because I'm like, wouldn't you?
No.
Wouldn't, I get it. I get that they sued them and everything, but I'm just like, I wonder how it impacted you guys though. 'Cause like everyone was singing that song in 97. So yeah,
we're just going to leave out the part where they sued Aqua completely from the documentary.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just like, how did it impact sales?
This is going to bring back some memories from past podcasts. I'm not going to say anything, but it's the old Pez thing. It's like, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Somebody who accentuates your product and then you're going to go after them. I'm like,
why?
But anyway, past that part. But the thing is, like, that the missteps they seem like they take longer to recover from because of Barbie's turnaround, the slump time, when they get reinvigorated and when they reestablish themselves. It takes almost like 20, almost 30 years for the turnarounds. So you had the 50s and then the 60s, 70s reestablished, back in the 80s again, 90s, early 2000s. Okay, now we're, hitting the current generation. We've revamped 3 different times for 3 different body styles, and now there's a movie. Like every 20 to almost 30 years, it's just a full cycle that they keep on retreading the same stuff instead of just learning from their mistakes and then just riding a constant wave.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like there's a little bit of security because Barbie is so iconic, but I don't know, guys, like that's not gonna always, be there. I don't know. Times are changing. Like things like fall through the cracks.
Times are changing and things are moving a lot faster. We no longer have to wait a month for a magazine to come out. You've got, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Advertising, news cast and all that. We've got the internet now. It's not, in the 50s, they may have not had that. Things moved a little slower, but now, things change on a day-to-day basis. And if you can't keep up, what does that spell for this company? If they can't keep up with the ever-changing trends, and it looks like they change a lot faster now than they did before. And mainly, I would attribute that to the speed of information.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, that's also tricky to navigate because there are things that, will be okay to support one day, and then like 2 weeks later, it's just, you can't support that anymore.
How dare you?
Yeah. So it's a little like we're in a tricky time, like with what you can say, do, think, feel.
And they touch on that a little bit, when you see some people having panic attacks over, the current project at the time that the documentary was being filmed.
Oh my gosh, not to get into it, but like the one that touched on mental health, like somebody commenting that I don't know. I I don't know, having to think about that, like you see this plastic doll and how much it could be impactful to people and how far they can take it. Cause you saw like some of those comments were just like paragraphs and paragraphs. And I'm like, geez, like, I don't know if no wonder they were all terrified. And
yeah, I don't know if I would have had, what's the correct word, the fortitude to deal with that, where, you are working for this company, you believe in this product, this doll to you represents dreams and hope, and then somebody pops on the internet and 3 paragraphs later you're like, I'm a piece of poo-poo, like this was a horrible idea, what am I doing to society?
Well, I think like you were saying before, that the time has shrunk from one invention to another. The pacing is a lot quicker. We're looking at like minute to minute as far as like any kind of updates that we're doing, but with these type of companies, they have to evolve. They have to know by now that everything is moving at a different pace, that we need to keep up with the pace, that, that I remember before when like a phone would come out, it would come out like every 2 or 3 years or so. Now it's every year.
Yeah.
And then now it's every couple months. So if you're in the know, you know that your time periods in between each evolution is going to be shorter because of how the timing and the pacing and how everything moves forward. So as a company, you have to evolve. You can't be using the same thing that you used last year and expecting the same results. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. We've already experienced like 2 pandemics, half a world war, all this other stuff that's happening every 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So to expect a company to still be doing the same things that they were doing 50, 60, 70 years ago is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to know by now the right questions to ask. So these people that are just kind of throwing their hands up, and another thing to kind of rub me the wrong way during where they were doing the board meetings and everything else, mm-hmm. was such an established name and such an established already powerful, message is still in limbo when they're trying to introduce a newer version of that same product. It's not like they're reinventing the entire wheel.
Yeah.
But they were all in basically a panic because
over changing one aspect.
Yeah. Over
Should we talk
one
about
little thing.
Yeah. So let's move on to that project.
Yeah, and like kind of touch on what it is.
Project Dawn. So segue into Project Dawn. And let's summarize that a bit. Project Dawn was the start, I believe, of Barbie trying to introduce different body types. Mm-hmm. Throughout the years, people have kind of looked down at Barbie at certain times, maybe not the 50s and 60s, but a little after, because she was so thin. Yeah. Was she setting up an unattainable body type for girls? I'm just I mean, that wasn't a question for you.
I mean,
it's always yes.
Tell us how you really feel.
I mean, it's her little book, kind of, it's like, don't eat. So
that book was hurtful.
Yeah.
I felt that.
Same. I don't think I could have.
As I ate my Pizza Hut.
So that's the weight I need to be at. Yikes.
It's like 110. Oh.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Kind of blew past that.
You want to continue about? I'm waiting for you to continue about Project Dawn, but yeah.
So yes, Project Dawn. They were introducing different body types. You see the panic attacks about how do we even approach this?
Yeah.
How big do we want to go? How do we describe it?
Yeah.
We can't say fat.
You can't
say
plump.
Plus size.
Was a little.
So they went with the word curvy.
Yeah.
So you have curvy Barbies.
Yeah.
Curvy. Well, yeah. And then some were short.
Some are short. Yeah. Some are tall.
Yeah.
Some of them have different faces, different facial features, different hair colors. And you've got blue hair now. You've got pink hair.
Yeah, there is a pink-haired Barbie. I mean, the hair colors have kind of been a thing, but it was cool. Like they added that to the curvy ones, and they were definitely branching out a lot. but they were really freaked out about doing it. But this was what, 2016 when they started?
Yeah.
I think when they started development of them, and
Well, that just it just blows my mind that the company's been around for that long. It's 2016. They've had years of all kinds of, good and bad, and but these guys were acting like it was the end of the company if this didn't go through. And
well, when your whole life is how am I going to market this so not to offend anybody? I mean, that one girl that was having panic attacks or moments that you can visibly see her stressed out, that's her whole job.
Yeah.
Her job is to worry about how people are going to take this.
Yeah.
That's true.
Are they going to see my vision, or are they going to project their bad feelings onto this and derail this whole company and my job?
It is just such a tricky thing because, like, today, even if a company can have the best intentions, there are the people that are just completely anti that, which is, of course. But then there's also the people, not even just the trolls, like people that just don't believe in it. Like, no, Barbie should never be changed ever. And then there's, of course, like the people that will see the inclusivity and just be like, oh, you're like just baiting people. You know what I mean? Which I'm just like, at the end of the day, however you feel, it's about young kids, like little kids, it's not really for the adults' feelings as much. So I think that's where it gets lost. Cause let's be real, like it's not going to be the 12-year-olds as much, at least, that are commenting. It's going to be these adults and their opinions. And I can see that just because, like, with other advertisements, like, for example, with the LGBTQ Burger King ad, when they did the same buns, you remember that? There's the 2 top buns and the 2 bottom buns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember that.
That was like last year, maybe 2 years ago at this point. And
they
had
start going back to Burger King.
Yeah, they had like 2 bottom buns.
I missed a whole campaign.
There goes that 110 diet.
I mean, that just got so much controversy.
How am I supposed to stay at 110 when I got to eat burgers with 2 bottoms?
Yeah, like it just had so much controversy. I mean, like to them, like to Burger King, they're like, oh, we're being intuitive. But then, to people, it's just like, I don't get how this is supposed to appeal to the queer community. It's just really like, you never know, even if it could be good intentions. Like, like we were discussing the thicker Barbie, like I rather just call her the thick Barbie. She was still like slim thick. She was still like nicely shaped.
She was still perfect fat.
Yeah.
She was still perfect big bone, perfect curvy.
Yeah.
Like I'm curvy, short, fat. I'm a little chubs right now, but I don't have like the almost flat chubby stomach that these Barbies seem to have. I didn't see multiple rolls on that Barbie. I don't see the 2 slices of Pizza Hut that you don't see the stretch marks that Barbie ate.
Well, and that's kind of where I go back to, they were hyperventilating over this stuff, but it's still not totally outside of the realm.
It's still a sanitized version.
Yeah. So they were having a mini stroke every 5 minutes when it's like you didn't really go that much farther than what we were expecting. You say curvy Barbie, I'm thinking, oh, okay, there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on, but it's like, no, she just has a pooch.
Yeah, she got a big booty. She was thick Barbie.
It's about time.
She got that
thigh gap went away too on a couple of them.
She did,
Yes, mermaid thighs.
Yeah.
Welcome.
She looked, I mean, it's not like the Barbie didn't look great. Like, she looked great. It's just that you would have thought, like, well, I guess that gives them room too. Like, maybe if they would have done like even more, you know, then it doesn't give them room to grow. But you
also said, small changes.
Small changes.
Yeah.
Small changes.
Always
so
small
maybe
changes.
this is a small change.
I want stretch mark Barbie. Where's she at?
And that's another thing when you're mentioning like the incremental changes, like the very small changes over time.
Yeah.
That I still think that I understand that policy and why that should be implemented out of a safety concern for, profits and everything else. But that's still putting you behind a curve if you're not releasing more units. Mm-hmm. So if you keep on, if you're super conservative about like each little tiny change, then society's already moved past that because we're moving at a faster rate now. Mm-hmm. So that's going to cause even more tension, more stress the next time they try to release a newer, more updated Barbie.
Well, this documentary, it's what, a 2018 documentary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's already outdated.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we've
It
already
is.
had the next inclusive group
Yeah.
release. You know, you mentioned
Oh.
the earlier in our
Yeah.
outside of podcast talk that, now there is a wheelchair Barbie.
Yeah, there is. And she has a ramp, which is like great and everything. Like I think that it's smart to include different types of women and in terms of Barbies. But then it's also, I just wonder how when is it gonna be what's the cap,
Yeah. Well, I think with just going back to the wheelchair Barbie, you're gonna have a lot. I mean, depending on like the releases and everything else like that and what's available at the time, that doesn't seem like it's going to be like a hot seller,
Mhm.
because it's only catering towards certain, groups.
Yeah.
Well, it's pointed towards certain groups. That doesn't mean that other groups can't buy that Barbie. But when they're creating the Barbie, it's intentionally pointed at certain people. So if you're looking just purely number standpoint, the incentive to make something like that isn't as high. So that they're going to be putting out certain products that aren't really going to be number one sellers.
Of course.
So why can't they use that same kind of mentality when they're trying to push the body positive Barbies for the next generation? They should be able to do, bigger Barbies, different types of other disabilities or
And
other
they
types
have
of
released Barbies with other types
Yeah.
of disabilities. You
They
have
have.
the
Yeah.
hearing aid, the Barbie that has the hearing aid. You have, let me Googles, do the Google.
It just seems like that, that when they keep on saying that, oh, well, we're going to do slight modifications. It's like, well, no, you're capable of doing more. And those have proven profitable. So what's the real excuse?
Yeah.
They even now have a Barbie with a prosthetic leg.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen
so-
those.
And if they had 300 panic attacks just for releasing body types, this would have been
Yeah. But,
so
Yeah.
many panic attacks because, I
Yeah.
feel like this is even a touchier subject.
yeah.
I mean, I think that it can be, but I also feel like
You
people
have to do it.
will be more understanding of that with the body positive stuff. I mean, especially like if we're talking like what 2016, 17-ish, I mean, timing was kind of good. I mean, because then you had Lizzo coming out. So honestly, they kind of lucked out a little bit just because we were getting that after, which they didn't know yet. But, it is, I think the body shape thing is just even more touchy because 2016 was definitely that transitional period, where even people were looking back at America's Next Top Model and being like, oh wow, that was so controversial, because I watched that growing up and it was just like, you're too, you need to be smaller, and so yeah, I don't know, man, it's those transitional periods are just kind of tough, and I think disabilities, I think people can wrap their head around that more because they don't want to be that bad person.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I would be more worried about that.
Really?
And purely because I wouldn't want to offend anybody with a disability. I'd be, I feel like I would be a little more cautious about how do I even present this
Well,
in a way that doesn't diminish or
Yeah.
doesn't attack.
yeah.
But I think that the whole point with that, with a body shape, little girls won't know what their body type will necessarily be when they're an adult. That's
Yeah.
where that's touchy. While somebody who has a hearing aid or has a prosthetic leg, that'll always be a struggle. So I feel like it's even more important and easy to accept, knowing that's oh, that Barbie looks like me, while with little girls that are say a little chubbier, she could grow up to be a thinner person, but
Yeah.
it's also just she might not. So that's why I think it's just unpredictable of with the whole weight thing, it's always that touchy thing, whether it's is promoting being a little bit thicker okay? Is it healthy? Is that people have a harder time accepting the body positive thing because we're still working on it than I
Yeah.
think the disabilities thing now, just because you get even more criticism if you're anti,
Yeah.
people with things that they can't change really about themselves.
Well, I think also in this case, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So if you don't release that type of figure, then you are saying that, that's not the direction that we want to head in. That's not the representation we want to have. And, if you do release it, then it's like, oh, well, you're promoting false, figure and all this other stuff. And the thing is, you have to remember what type of company you're going to be and be consecutive about it. If you're going to push the boundaries, then push the boundaries. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're going to hit it big. Sometimes you're not. So I think that if you're going to be an innovative company, then be an innovative company. Don't backtrack every 5 minutes just because, something doesn't sound right, doesn't look exactly the way you want it to, because the feedback that you're going to be getting at a constant basis, isn't really, I don't think there's a direct correlation with the comments versus the actual profits. Mm-hmm. I think the profit is what speaks to whether something is going to be a success or not. If you pay attention to every moron on the internet, then you're not going to release anything ever. So you're always going to second guess yourself. You're always going to think, well, what if I do this? What if I do that? And then you're going to be in production limbo for the next 5 to 10 years. And you've blown past 3 different things that have happened in society when you're supposed to be an innovator and be there before things actually happen. So are you going to be in production hell, or are you going to be able to just push these products out? If they don't work, don't release another one. If they do work, release more of them. That was kind of how this whole thing started to begin with, was she decided she wanted to make a Barbie that didn't exist, so decide on what company you want to be and then do it. This isn't something that has never happened before. You have to release something that never existed. And if it made sales, reinvent it. Every once in a while, reinvent it. Sometimes it's going to be a year. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it could be 6 months, but you have to keep on reinventing it.
I agree with you. It is interesting that they are afraid to pivot. Like, I do understand why, especially being my age, and even my friends, some people are a little bit even more open-minded. I think I'm very open-minded, but there are people even more open-minded, and watching what you say and all those things. But with Barbie being, something that was, so innovative and really something new, they are very afraid to pivot. And it's funny just because as much as they pivot, if you look at the Barbie movie that's about to come out, the Barbie we get is the blonde, pretty Barbie. Yeah, exactly. And all pink. I feel like no matter how much they pivot, I'm just guys, that you're still gonna fall back on the iconic blonde hair Barbie no matter what you do. She's just she's never gonna go away. Yeah. And I don't think that image is really gonna
I think that was the I think that was the constant fight between the innovative Barbie versus establishment Barbie.
Yeah.
So during that 50s was the innovative Barbie, and then it kind of crossed over to everybody looking at it as an establishment kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where Barbie's always kind of butted heads with itself, and how other people have looked at what it represents to be or to have Barbie.
All right. On that note, we're going to take a break and we'll come back with our final thoughts on Barbie and maybe talk about the Barbie movie.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go, Barbie.
Someone's super excited about Barbie movie.
I am. Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Oppenheimer.
I'm just kidding. I want my job to be Beach.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll be back. Hey, it's Daphne. Wilson, Nat, and I would like to send a big thanks to you, our listeners, for your incredible support. We also want to give a special shout out to all of our wonderful new fans from the Philippines and Australia. We've emerged from our break with a lineup of exciting new episodes just for you. Get ready to dive into captivating discussions about flat earthers, toilets, and tickling. Keep those headphones at the ready. Stay connected with us on Facebook and feel free to drop us a line at getdockedpodcast@gmail.com. Plus, don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio app. That way you'll always be first in line for our latest and greatest from our show. Stay curious, and most importantly, keep on listening. And the conclusion of Tiny Shoulders, Barbie.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We've gotten to the point, to the end of the documentary.
Yes.
They've released your first set of body positive Barbies.
Mhm. And it was a success.
And it was great. People loved it.
After all of those panic attacks, sleepless nights, it did very well.
Yeah.
It was well received. Maybe if they had hired the Twitter guy from Wendy's, they would have had better night's sleep.
They need to be a little bit more rock solid about that stuff, too. That whole panic attack thing is ridiculous.
I have panic attacks at work all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. My life is one gigantic panic attack where I just fall downstairs. Dang.
That's because they're possessed. Okay.
The Exorcist stairs. There's only like 3, so it's just like demon 1, 2, and 3. There's enough for 3 demons there.
Oh,
what are you talking
goodness.
about?
You're going to trip down them and then up them.
Just back and forth. Back and forth.
Why? Why? Gravity, no.
Oh.
But it's all about Barbie.
It's all about
It
Barbie.
is about
Let's
Barbie.
go party.
Yeah. And
In the upcoming movie, we have someone here who's super excited about the movie. And the movie's actually been getting a lot of press lately.
I bet.
Some
so
people
much.
don't understand why Ken is being portrayed the way he is.
What?
What? You have Barbie, who's a doctor or president, all these jobs, and Ken's job is the beach.
But Ken has always been kind of like the side character. It's never been about him.
Well, let's be honest. The line has been about empowering little girls to dream big. You know, while Ken is there, Ken's not necessarily the focus.
Ken is an
Yeah.
accessory.
And is an accessory.
Ken is the equivalent of a purse.
Well, you know, the
You know,
movie's
like-
supposed to be a commentary on society's views of women, and they've swapped the roles.
Yeah.
Where in our society, most commonly, men are allowed to be everything, and women have to really work at becoming that doctor, that astronaut. That's how the whole line began.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the
true.
whole point of Barbie.
Well, you
So
know,
now we're getting all of that tied into this bright pink bowed movie.
I mean, I don't even remember the animated movies that like I did see growing up being too much about.
I don't believe that.
What? No, yeah, I was gonna say that like I don't believe that they focused on Ken that much in those either. Like I think that it's gonna be interesting to see like the live action also kind of like keep pushing that thing because I even with me and Barbies growing up, I had a few Barbies and I never really cared about Ken. Like I just wanted like her to have a car. That's it. I'm like, oh, she got a car, she lit. You know, like that's all Barbie needs, you know.
All I cared about was Rockstar Barbie. That was it.
Rockstar Barbie.
I had like 2 of the same doll, and it was Rockstar Barbie. She had her microphone, she sang, she was in a rock band. That's all I cared about.
well, my question was, if you're gonna like ask that and is be surprised that Ken doesn't have all this extra stuff, is like, how are you? I don't understand how are you surprised now when you do not? It's not your market.
Yeah.
So why would you think that it's catered to you in any way, shape, or form?
Mhm.
It's a doll for young women, you know.
To dream big.
Exactly. So they're not worried about Ken's occupation. You know, this isn't like,
They're worried about their stuff.
yeah, if you want like a male occupation doll, you buy a G.I. Joe. Like Barbie is not catered to you. So
G.I.
watching the
Joe.
movie and going, oh no, why doesn't Ken have a bigger part? It's like, well, so the doll came out in 1959 and you haven't realized that it's catered
Not
to
about you.
Yeah, exactly. like the shock, the awe. Oh
It's
my
not about you,
gosh.
buddy.
I'm about to hit the floor and roll around on the ground and cry because Barbie doesn't speak to a male demographic.
Yeah. I mean, I will say on my end, like, I haven't seen that too much. I think that, like, a lot of the people, like, my age, so Barbie, this whole Barbie movie has been such a meme that, like, everybody I know, even, like, my most, like, masculine, if you want to say, type of friends,
Mhm.
like, they're still, like, so down to go see the Barbie movie. Like, everyone just wants to be like, yo, I'm in on it. Like, the memes are great.
It looks like it's going to be funny.
I think it's gonna be really funny.
Yeah.
I like how
I was in the minute they mentioned Greta. I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't care what it's about. I will go see this. I've never once watched a Barbie movie. I had the dolls. I
Yeah.
think I missed the train on the Barbie movies, but they said Greta. I was like, I'm in. I don't even need to know what the story's about. I don't
Yeah.
need Greta's in on this. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like anything that has to do with some form of nostalgia, whether it's like the Winnie the Pooh horror movie or, you know, this Barbie movie, if there's like something that has to do with that, I'm here for it because I want to see if it's either going to be like disastrous
Yeah,
or funny. Like either way, it's going to bring back some type of memories.
exactly.
So I'm excited for that. And especially with Barbie, like that's just such like a big pool of people. Like it's just been around for so long, you know, like yeah, there's going to be I think we talked about it how there's going to be this Barney movie coming out or it's being worked on right now. But Barney hasn't touched like on like a lot of people's childhoods. Well,
I don't know, man.
Barbie
I work at a daycare. I have too much Barney. Like,
yeah, but that
in
only
my
goes
life.
back so far. Barbie,
Yeah.
on the other hand, is like you can take your like great grandma. She's gonna be like, "Oh, yo, Barbie, I know
Barbie,
her.
yeah, exactly.
Like me and Barbie are homegirls. Like we're homies. We know each other from like back in the day. You know, everybody knows who Barbie is. So that's gonna be really fun. And I don't think that there's like a lot of things or a lot of things like that are left
Yeah,
to be like shown and seen. You know, just like kind of like when the new Star Wars movies were coming out again, like. That brought, I mean, regardless if they're good or not, you know, it just is
calm
that,
it down.
Yikes.
Calm
Yeah.
it down, Wilson.
regardless if they're good
I
or
got
not.
so much to say about that.
Yeah, but it's also that like sense of like, you know, a lot of generations could go
Yeah,
see it,
yeah.
you know, and be like, oh, well, we're going to see how this plays out. But it also like applies to you and me, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I think with the new movie coming out, the one thing I do think that it doesn't have to worry about suffering from is a pre-existing storyline.
yeah.
You know, because like all the different versions of Barbie and stuff like that, it's kind of changed over the years, and you know the existence of what Barbie isn't predetermined in 1959. So
Mhm.
every different Barbie has its own representation, its own past, its own future, its own possibilities. That was a good thing about something like that kind of reinvents itself all the time. Is eventually when they come out with a movie, different storylines, they can do whatever they want with it as long as it's got jokes. It's relatively moving in a general direction, and it's a coherent storyline. You got to win.
Well, what I'm most excited about,
Ryan Gosling,
maybe a little excited, but no, what
without
I'm
a shirt on.
Oh, God. Big face Ryan Gosling, man. Just has so much face.
and the dude from the 10 Rings or whatever, he's in it too.
what?
Simu?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, he's
no.
in there too. So,
Oh, I mean,
You guys are missing the big one.
There's
Kate
so much-
McKinnon, the weird Barbie.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I want to
I
see.
love her. Yeah, she's just like it's the kind of Barbie that you experiment on, and I'm like, yeah, I remember.
That's
her.
what I want to see.
I think it's just funny that they use so much pink, like that there was like a shortage of pink. Like I'm just like, dang, like y'all really went in, just like all the pink, pull it from the whole world, make there be a shortage. That's how much pink should be on the set. You know?
And I think that just the slightest attention to detail is going to have a lot of people that have known Barbie. They're going to be happy about it. As long as you don't stray too far from everything that's already existing. And that's another thing. It seems like the people that are making the movie liked the product.
Yeah.
So I always hate it when they put in some producer, they put in some director, and they have no clue about the source material. And then they just throw in some garbage, and then they're expecting to get profits. If you hit even close to the mark, you're going to have a success.
Well, that you're right there because all the actors, even before there was a ton of press on this, spoke very highly about the script.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
You know, you don't get that a lot.
Yeah.
So hopefully they didn't overhype it.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope not, but
well, I mean, you don't really have to go too far. I mean, like I said, there's not a pre-existing storyline that they have to fall for.
fall.
They don't really have to write in a certain direction. They can say Barbie goes to space, and you're still going to have a good time.
yeah.
It's not going to be like in horror movies where it's kind of a joke.
No, it's more like the Muppets.
Yeah,
They do
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, so I think the bar is a little bit lower, but the people that are involved actually like the product, and I think that's really cool.
And I think the cast, like the people that are in it that I've seen, I mean, some are a little interesting choices, and I want to see how that pans out. But I do like the age of the cast, I guess, like a slightly like older a little bit instead
Yeah.
of like doing a full younger people, just because like I think there's even more room to laugh a little bit, you
Yeah.
know, and they're seasoned actors.
There's going to be a lot of
Yeah.
jokes they're going to be going after, like the older cast, the younger cast, and since there's such a wide range of people that have been involved in these, the making of the dolls, the purchasing of the doll. I mean, since the 50s, you can have decent jokes, and you're going to have a large audience no matter what, just because of just the name in general. And all you need is a couple people that are doing the reviews to say, okay, this is good.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say all this and then it bombs
Yeah.
horribly. Or like then we come back, we're like, yeah, sorry about that. We talked a lot.
We'll apologize on Facebook.
But you know what? Like, there's been plenty of movies that I've been a fan of that have bombed at the box office, and I still like them. There's a lot of movies that
Give an example.
Well, I can give an example, like the Desperado movies. Like they were not commercial successes, and they're awesome when you watch them. The movie Dredd, the remake of the Judge Dredd movie.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it was a box office bomb, but that is the best version of Dredd.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
I mean, like those type of movies, like Big Trouble Little China. It wasn't a commercial success, but you watch that movie, or like Spaceballs, or these weren't movies that made money at the box office, but when you watch them, it was either VHS, DVD, or whatever. However you came to see it. Those are movies that you kept in your library because they were awesome. You can watch them anytime and quote them a million different times. So the bar, for these isn't,
I'm going to need a quote.
First of all, I don't think we could put some of those on the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
But,
I mean, if this generation likes Scream 6, the bar's pretty low.
Yikes. Okay, I saw that, and we'll do that on another one.
Another day.
That is a train wreck.
That was...
Yikes. Okay, so we got a couple, we're going to start doing movie reviews on this.
Right?
We're going to be here for like an hour and a half talking about these horrible ass movies. But anyway.
So before we wrap this up, let's mention the weird cut in the credits.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of went back and started talking about what's her name? Ruth getting indicted
on mail fraud. And falsifying documents.
Yeah. You don't fuck with the mail.
Something about some financial.
Yeah, so they kind of, it's weird. They go through the entire documentary, and then right when the credits are rolling, they're like, hey, by the way.
Yeah, should we mention this one thing about Ruth?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think like whoever was doing the editing kind of fell asleep halfway through it, and there was like some footage like left on the floor. And
well,
they
left out a lot. Let's talk about that. They left out, controversies about pregnant Midge. Yeah. I think they mentioned Midge once.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the word Skipper anywhere. Yeah. Like it was definitely all about just Barbie. And they just added that as a footnote. Hey, by the way, Ruth was forced out and she was indicted on mail fraud and making false statements to the SEC and federally insured banks. Yeah. So she was indicted on falsifying financial documents. And that's all the detail we get. Yeah. That's it. It's just a, hey, footnote, here you go, peace out. But she did well after
She
that.
did. Yeah, she
She
did.
turned it around and she started making, what's
Fake
the word?
boob.
I was looking for the other term.
Oh,
Prosthetic, maybe?
prosthetic boobs.
There you go. Fakes.
Yeah, because she battled with breast cancer and then she made the prosthetics, which
Yeah,
I think
so-
is great. And I'm
Which
like,
was I think was a good pivot for her.
for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
her
and
thing has always been boobs. I mean,
She was all about the boob power.
Just
Yeah.
plastic boobs everywhere.
she loves
That should be a sticker, boob power.
boob power or plastic boobs everywhere. I like that too.
But that brings us to the conclusion.
Yeah,
Any final thoughts on Barbie?
Go watch the movie.
yeah. Watch the movie.
Tell us how you think. Tell us what you think. Put it in the comment section.
Put it on the comment section. Give us your best quote from a movie that everybody hated but you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My movie would be The Pest. You're welcome.
Oh, nice. A little Leguizamo action. I'm down.
And then, again, this was Tiny Shoulders. You can find it on Hulu. And that's it. I think we'll wrap it up here for a very short final conclusion out. Yep. All right. We'll see you again soon. Adios.
Bye.
Have you noticed how often you're surrounded by glass these days? People who live in a world of glass should watch their figures.